Namaste. This week, you're spoilt for choice. I couldn't decide between Stress Awareness Week, which is really important to me as mental health is a big issue and a specialism of mine in yoga, or Diwali, because this wonderful celebration in the Hindu calendar celebrates light over darkness, the triumph of good over evil. So you've got a little bit of a combo. So we've got a class that is going to be great for relieving anxiety and stress, with a little bit of reaching up to the light. And then a nice relaxation at the end, celebrating the inner light within all of us. So let's set ourselves up in a comfortable seated position to start with. Draw the spine up nice and tall. And allow the eyes to gently close. And relax the shoulders. Become aware of how you're feeling today. We all talk about sometimes being stressed. Stress isn't always a bad thing. It can be really good to help us focus and to get things done, to give that little edge that we sometimes need to push ourselves. But we're talking about stress being a bad thing when it's persistent over a long period of time. And there's a definition of stress I like. Stress arises when the pressure placed upon an individual exceeds the capacity of that individual to cope. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we don't want to get to a state of. And yoga can really help to alleviate that, make us feel like we can be in control, like we've got this. Okay, so we're going to draw that up from inside. And a simple way that we can take ourselves from feeling anxious and stressed to feeling calmer is to use the breath. So I would say a basic rule, if you want to calm down the nervous system, is to extend the exhale, make it longer than the inhale. So we're going to do some breathing now. I want you to do some belly breathing, trying to get those inhales right down deep into the tummy, letting it swell, relaxing everything on the exhale. And I'm going to give you a count. If my count doesn't fit in with your breathing pace, then you do your own thing. I'll count a few rounds and then leave you for a couple of minutes to do your own breathing. So noticing how you feel now as you arrive on the mat. Breathing in and out through the nose, if that's okay for you. Want your next inhale for you to count. Inhaling for 2, 3, 4. A little pause at the top. Exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, with a little pause at the bottom. Inhaling 2, 3, 4. Noticing if there's that little pause. Exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5. And then seeing if you can extend it a little. Inhaling 2, 3, 4. Pausing, let that breath turn round at the top. Exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pausing at the bottom. And you carry on now. I don't mind how many counts are right for you, but seeing if you can make that exhale longer than the inhale and maybe extending it by 2 or 3 counts. We're going to do about 12 breaths, nice and slow and relaxed, observing your own rhythm and not holding the breath at the top and holding the exhale out, just noticing there's a gentle pause before the next breath comes in or goes out. Trying to keep the jaw and the facial muscles relaxed. Not letting your posture collapse. And after your next exhale, take one more slow, mindful round of breath. And when you've completed that round of breath, sitting still with your eyes closed or soft focus down at the floor for a few more moments, notice how you feel now. If you feel different to when we started, just a couple of minutes of mindful breathing can sometimes make a real difference, even if you have to dash off to a different room or lock yourself in the toilet to do it sometimes. It's worth it, giving yourself that time. I want you to roll your shoulders now. Give them a gentle roll, taking them up and back and down. And then bringing that to stillness, we're going to move the head gently in different directions. So starting with the nose pointing forward, nice tall spine, inhaling there. As you exhale, turning the head to the left, looking over the left shoulder, and then coming back on the inhale to the front. Really slow movements. Exhaling, looking over to the right. Inhaling back to the front. It doesn't matter if you want to go a little slower than I'm going. I'm going to do 2 more times each side. Letting the breath lead the speed. So seeing if you can move with the breath in a continuous motion, but trying not to rush the movement. And when you're next looking over your right shoulder, when you come back to the center, instead of turning to the left, I want you to drop the chin towards the chest. And then on the inhale, lifting the nose forward and up a little. So turning it into a gentle nod. Again, working with the breath. And then slowly start to involve the spine as well. So it turns into a gentle cat-cow, rounding the spine as we exhale and drop the chin, lifting the heart as we inhale and lift the nose. And let the pelvis rock back and forwards. It can be deeply soothing to rock the pelvis. So notice it tilts backwards and forwards with this movement. Couple more times. And then bringing it all to stillness. And if you've been sat with your legs crossed, change the cross of your legs, or maybe you want to stretch them out in front of you, have a little shake. I'm going to stay seated for a little longer. So bringing the hands to the heart now. On an inhale, reach out, extend the arms out to the side. And on the exhale, take the left hand over the top of the right hand, cross the arms and give yourself a hug. So hugging the shoulders. Inhale, lifting the elbows, and exhale, dropping them down, bowing down, let the spine round. And then coming up, you can choose to keep the hands here, resting on the shoulders lightly, or you might bring the back of the hands to the back of the hands. And if that feels comfortable, you might even wrap the wrists around each other. But if everything is getting a little uncomfortable and skewy, then keep to one of those other options. Totally depends on how your shoulders are set, the size of your arms, the length of the bones. So pick an option that's right for you. Inhale, lift the elbows, maybe lifting the gaze as well. Feel a little work in the shoulders. Exhale, bring the elbows and hands down and bow towards them. Twice more. So inhale, lifting up. Exhale, bowing down. Last time. Good. Inhale, unwind your hands, reach them up to the sky on the inhale, and we're going to take a twist. So turning to your left, let's take the right hand forward, left hand back, and inhale, lengthen the spine. And turn on the exhale, turn the tummy, the chest, the head. Inhale, unwind a little, see if you can find extra length in the spine, and then gently spiraling up through the spine. Tummy turns, chest turns, shoulders turn, last of all the head. And then inhale, reach the hands up as you come all the way back to the front. Exhale the hands down. And just the left hand is going to float up this time as you inhale. Drape it over the head on the exhale, lightly resting the hands on the ear. We're going to take a side stretch with our head and neck. So inhale upright, as though you're trying to push the crown of the head into your arm. And then exhale, take that left ear down towards the floor. The hand rests lightly on the top of the head. It's not pushing or pulling it. It's encouraging the head to be heavy. And you can keep these fingers touching the ground, or you might want to lift the fingers up and really reach the fingertips away from the shoulder. It's going to change the stretch slightly, but make sure it's a nice stretch on your neck, over the shoulder. Big breaths in and out. Lovely. Last exhale. Then on your inhale, cradle your head, bring it upright, bring the hands down to the floor. If you want to adjust the way you're sitting again to do all that the other side, you're very welcome to. I'm going to bring the hands to the heart and inhale, open the arms out. This time, right arm crosses over left, hug yourself. Inhale, lifting the elbows. Exhale, bowing down, rounding the spine. And then coming up and seeing how it feels on this side to bring the back of the hands to the back of the hands and maybe continue with that twist, that bind. It might feel completely different one side to the other because we often have one shoulder more flexible. When you're ready, inhale, lifting the elbows up. Exhale, bowing down. Feeling how this changes the muscles in the back of the body, in the arms, in whichever posture you're working in. Last lift and bow down. And then reach the arms up, fingertips to the sky, inhale. And now we're turning the opposite way round. And the left hand comes forward, the right hand goes back, turning to the side, but length first on the inhale, and then exhale, spiraling round. Inhale, unwind a little, see if you can get extra length in between each vertebra, and then round you go. One more breath like that. Gentle twists. Good. Lifting the hands as you inhale and come back to the front, bringing them down. This time it will be the right hand floats up on an inhale, drapes over the head lightly on the ear. Inhale, lifting the head up, and exhale, taking it over to the side. So noticing, how does that stretch feel? One side of the neck might be tighter than the other. And you might want to experiment with taking the fingers out at different heights, taking them back or forward in space. It all slightly changes how the muscles are stretched. Let it be a pleasant feeling. Letting go, the hardest thing. We keep so much stress around our shoulders. Good. And on your next inhale, gently pressing the head up, bringing the hands down to the floor. Lovely. Let's come on to tabletop position now, hands and knees. And starting with our cat-cow movements, I want to take this into a circular movement. So to start with, nice neutral back, pressing into the fingertips, trying to spread the weight, or you can do this on forearms. And inhale there, exhale, rounding the back for our cat stretch, dropping the head. Inhale, the hips tilt forward, heart lifts, and the head lifts. And as you work gently backwards and forwards with this motion, I want you to think about on the exhales, starting to round the back and take the hips back. And then on the inhale, coming into that cow pose with the arched back as you come forwards. So slowly making circles, coming back towards child pose, not staying in it or going as far back as that yet. Trying to get your circles going, circular movement. Flexing the spine. If we've got flexibility of the spine, and we've got a healthy spine, healthy body. Good. And then whenever it feels right for you, allow yourself to sink back all the way into child pose, maybe wide-legged child pose with the knees wide, big toes touching. Head can come down to the mat or not, your choice. And allow the back to soften here. So have a feeling that it's spreading out and lengthening on those exhales. On the inhale, see if you can fill the back of the lungs to feel the back expand, and then let it all soften down on the exhale. Couple more deep breaths. You can sigh out the exhales whenever you want in this practice. And then rising up to all fours, walk your hands forward for our puppy dog, our half downward dog. This is when the hips stay over the knees, the head, the ears are in line with the upper arms, and the heart melts down towards the floor. So there's a little back bend going on. And you can stay with this, or you can change to a downward facing dog. So you could walk the hands back just a little way in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes, and lift the hips. Keep the knees bent to mimic that back that we found in our puppy dog pose. Really tilting the hips up to the sky. So the sit bones reach for the sky, the heart melts down. And then if you want to, walking out the legs, so pedaling one heel towards the ground, then the other. If you're in puppy dog, you can stretch one foot back long behind you, one leg at a time to get that same stretch down the back of the legs. And then we're going to do the same sort of thing that we did in our kneeling position. If you want to drop to your knees a moment, you can do our cat-cow posture again, flowing back towards child pose, or we can take it into down dog by going from our down dog posture forward as though we were going to stay in a plank pose, but then softening the knees again and drawing back. So trying to get a flow. So Shakti waves, these are called, either from down dog to plank and back again, or taking it to the knees, child pose. And cat stretch and cow movement. So circular movement in the body. Lovely. Whenever you're ready to, let's take that down to the floor and lie on your tummy. So come forwards into a Sphinx pose. This is where you all disappear from view, but I know you're, yay, I got little hands and heads. Lovely. So set yourself up with your forearms on the ground and you're staring straight ahead, and allow the tummy to relax, allow the hips to relax, allow the back to soften. Every inhale, think of lifting the heart and the head forward, not lifting the gaze up, but forward. And every exhale, allow the head to drop and the body to release and soften. So the inhale is the active part of this pose. Imagine you could draw yourself forward with your arms. You're not going to move, but it's that kind of energetic awareness in the body. You can reach back through the back toes, lifting and settling down again. And if this feels too strong on the lower back, take it down to crocodile pose, resting the forehead on the back of the hands, looking up and down. A few more times. And we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Come through a gentle cobra, back to all fours, and slowly, slowly ease yourself all the way back to child pose to counteract the back bend of our Sphinx, gently rounding the back forward in child pose. Feeling that work fall away from the back of the body. We're going to start making our way into a forward fold now. You can come through down dog again if you want to, reaching the fingertips forward, tucking the toes, lifting the hips. And you can have a couple of breaths there, or you can walk the feet towards the hands, and we'll all join together in a few breaths in a forward fold near the front of the mat. Have the knees a little bit bent. The arms can dangle down or hold opposite elbows, and let the head and the neck be free. So gentle nod, yes, gentle shake, no, to release the neck. Have the feet hip width apart, pressing down into the floor, little bend in the knees. And I want you to think of this idea of rising up into the light. On an inhale, start making your way up. Feel like you're floating up. That in-breath is lifting you up. And you can reach the hands to the sky, reaching up like a candle flame, and then bringing the hands down in front of you, in front of the heart space, and coming to mountain pose. Taking a few deep breaths there, palms face forward, open heart. Feel established, grounded, centered. Good stuff. So when we wrapped our arms around each other, that was a half of eagle pose, the top half of eagle pose. We're going to do an eagle pose, but I don't want to do it as a balance today. It's more of the idea of bringing the body in on itself and then opening out again. So we're going to cross the legs. I'll talk you through this. If you've got a paperback book or a block, you might want to have the block next to your left foot to start with, so that you can cross the legs and bring the foot onto the block, or you can touch the floor if you haven't got a block. But we're not going to worry too much about taking that foot off the floor. It's more about the feeling of this squeezing in that I'm looking for. So let's set up the feet first. So bending the knees a little bit, feet hip width apart. You want to lift the right knee up and cross over your thigh, and then let the toes either find the block or the floor. So you've got both knees bent, pressing down into that left leg, and then we can bring the arms into it. So opening the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, first of all, left arm goes over the right, nice and high, either hugging the shoulders or coming into whichever eagle arm pose you found was right for you earlier. Lovely. And then we're going to lift the elbows, straighten the legs a little. Exhale, draw the elbows down, bend the knees and bow. Good. Twice more. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, squeezing everything down. Coming up. Last time, squeezing everything into the middle. And then on the next inhale, unraveling. So opening the arms, gently lifting that right knee up and placing it back down on the floor. Staying in Tadasana for a couple of breaths before we do the other side. You might want to move your block over if that was useful. Good. And then a little bend in the knees, press into the right foot. This time the left knee is going to lift up and over. And find something to rest the toes on. Well done. Inhale, takes the arms out to the side. This time the right arm crosses over the left. And again, find your eagle wrap, wherever that is for you. You know the options now. And then we can inhale, lifting the elbows. Exhale, drawing everything down into a bow. Inhale takes us up again, reaching up, thinking of your hands like a candle flame if they're wrapped around each other, bowing down. One more time. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, feel you're squeezing the muscles. Ready to unwrap on your next inhale, opening the arms out, lifting the left knee and placing the foot back down on the floor. Lovely. And see how the muscles feel after that. Sometimes a little squeeze and contraction can make us aware of how much we're holding on, and can we let go a little bit more now that we've brought that awareness to the muscles. I want you to come to the back of your mat so that you've got enough room to step forward for our warrior postures today. We're going to start with warrior one. So turn the left toes out a little bit at an angle and a nice big stride forward with the right foot. So warrior one is when the hips are level, facing the front of your mat. And you can either have the hands on the hips and keep them there, bring them to the heart, or lift them up into the air. Inhale, and exhale, bend that front knee. Come into your warrior one. You can wriggle the foot forward a little if you want to, ideally having that perpendicular shin, so nice straight shin at right angles to the floor. Soften the shoulders. If you want to bring the hands to the heart or the hips, then please do so. And feel the power of pressing into the outside edge of your back foot. That will lift the hips a little, tilting the pelvis, keeping the tailbone down, can you sink down on the exhale? We're going to turn this into warrior two. So reaching to the sky, reaching up to the light, straightening the front leg if you like on the inhale, turn the hips to the side, and then on the exhale, bend the front knee again, take the hands out to the side, right hand reaching forward, and you're looking down that right arm, that right middle finger and beyond. Again, you can take the hands to the hip if you prefer. Keep that gaze steady and strong. Keep the heart lifted, so shoulders over hips. Don't be tempted to lean forward. And again, can you drop the hips down a little? Maybe you can wriggle that front foot a little more forward. Remember to press into the back foot so we don't strain the lower back. And we're going to come from here to side angle. So bending your right arm. On an exhale, bring it down to the thigh, and the top hand come to the hip to start with, because I really want you to think about getting the angle first of all. So from that back foot to the crown of the head, can you really lengthen out and feel the power of this posture? Spinning the heart towards the sky, the top shoulder we're trying to take back. If that all feels okay, you might want to lift the top arm. If that feels awkward and uncomfortable, keep the hand on the hip. Again, if you're reaching up, reaching for the light, everything's alive. So this hand resting on your thigh is active, not flopping there. And if the elbow is bent, then you're reaching the top elbow and the top shoulder to the sky. Big breath to finish. Inhaling here. Exhale, frame the front foot with your hands. Turn the back toes, all 10 toes pointing to the front in this runner's lunge, and stay here for a couple of breaths, lifting the heart forward like we did in our Sphinx pose. The inhale really enlivens this posture. The gaze looks forward. The front knee is over the front ankle. Good. And then we're going to take it back into downward facing dog. Staying here for a couple of breaths if you want to, or walking the hands backwards. So this time the hands are going back towards the feet, so we end up at the back of our mat. Staying in forward fold. Can you release and relax into this? Let's do a few breaths in our forward fold. Placing the hands on the shins. Inhale and lift up halfway. Nice big breath in there. On the exhale, bow down. Take the hips up and the crown of the head down. Maybe the arms come down towards the floor. And then bend the knees to release that. Try and get lovely flat back again. Inhale halfway. Exhale, bow down. Opening the back of the body on the exhale. One more time. Halfway lift. Lovely length in the spine. Trying to keep that length as long as possible. As we lift the hips, we bow down. And this time you're going to rise all the way up. So press into the feet. Bent knees, strong legs, lift you up. Hands lift towards the sky and come back to the heart center for Tadasana. Good. We're going to do all that on the other side now. Hopefully you're warming up a little. Let's turn the right toes out to the side, just a little bit, 30, 45 degrees, and big stride forward with the left foot now. So the left foot is leading. Again, hips are parallel to start with. Inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, bending the front knee. You're in your warrior one. So arrive in this position. It's a position of beginnings. Okay, it's the warrior reaching up, coming up from the earth in the Hindu legend. So reaching upwards, up to the light, ready to fight, ready to battle. So feel strong and powerful. Maybe drop the hips a little more. Can you come into this posture, really finding your inner courage? Good. And then we're going to change to warrior two by reaching up, straightening the front leg, opening it out, left hand forward, right hand back. And again, that left knee bends, this time warrior two. You're looking down your left arm, down that middle finger. Good. Use the breath, drop down into it. So the inhale lets the chest swell, the gaze is strong. The exhale releases the hips. The lower you go, the more powerful you can feel. Press into the feet. Good. Any problems, any obstacles in your life are dissolved with this posture. Now you're going to bend that left elbow this time, inhaling. Exhale, over we go into a side angle. So resting the hand on the thigh, finding the angle. Good. In your body. Lifting from the back foot out through the crown of the head. And if you want to, lifting that top arm. You decide whether the gaze is up, sideways, or down. So down is grounding, up challenges the balance. What can you do? Finding the light, reaching for the light. Nice big inhale to finish. And then exhale, frame the front foot, turn so that all 10 toes face the front. And this time stepping back to down dog and coming to kneeling or child whenever you're ready to. So if you want to walk out the legs in downward facing dog first, please do. And then coming down onto the ground and releasing into a restorative posture. Noticing any heat in the body, your breathing settling. And then coming up to kneeling, if that's okay for you. I want you to sit either in a kneeling posture or with the feet forward. And we're going to explore deer pose, upright and then supine. It's a bit like pigeon pose, but it's a little more of a twist than pigeon poses, and the hips should be a little more relaxed. So I want you to shift your left hip, first of all, onto the ground. So if you've got the feet in front, just tuck them round to the side and take the legs into a 90-90 position. So they're at 90 degrees. This front shin is at 90 degrees to the front of the mat, that sort of direction. And the back knee is also at that angle. So you should feel a little twisted up here. So taking the fingertips onto the floor, either side of that front knee, really lifting the heart, opening up. I want you to feel like a deer prancing through the woods. That's what the shape of the legs is meant to replicate. And then when you want to, inhale upright and exhale, begin your descent by walking the hands down. And depending which direction you go in, you can control where the twist is in your body. So reaching out over the thigh might feel a nice way to recline down. If you want a little bit tighter twist, you can reach down over the knee or the shin. So see what feels nice to you. And you can settle down onto forearms, or you can reach the hands out further and maybe the head comes to the floor. If you want to use a block or something under your head, you can. And breathe into the tight areas of the body. So what is calling for your attention? Breathe into that part. And on the exhale, see if you can let out the tension. Let it melt away. So sending breath, sending light into the body, inviting it to release and relax on the exhale. Can you let go a little more? When you're ready, take one more deep breath, a long exhale, and then use your hands to start walking yourself upright again. Either bringing the legs round to the front or coming back to kneeling. When we kneel like this, we're slightly restricting the blood flow in the legs. We get a little boost when we then change position. So noticing, how does the body feel? It might feel a bit lopsided. One side might feel like it's been twisted and stretched, different to the other side. And then let's shift into our position on the other side, resting the right hip down and settling the legs into this prancing deer pose. So as best you can, a sort of 90-degree angle with that front leg, and the back leg will settle into its own position. Fingertips either side of the front knee, lengthening up, always trying to lengthen the spine when we're in any kind of twist. Breathing here, opening the heart space, and then start your descent. So walking the hands forward, exploring the angle that you're moving at, letting the body soften and settle into a supine position. Again, maybe the head doesn't come all the way to the floor. You might want to use the back of the hands under the forehead or a block. You might want to stay a little higher up, resting on your forearms. Wherever this pose takes you to, the art of going deeper into it is to do less. So can you let go by not holding on? And our hips are another classic area where we hold on to tension without realizing it. If we can get them moving, and then see if we can invite the muscles to soften down. Let go of tension, let go of stress held in the body. Let it flow away with the exhales. Maybe after a few breaths, a little more of your body comes in contact with the floor. And then slowly, let there be one more deep inhale, exhale. And using your hands to walk yourself back upright. Everybody this time bringing the legs around to the front of the mat. Have a little shake out of the legs. Good. And then easing yourself down to lying on your mat with the knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And we're going to hug the knees in, linking the fingers around the shins. You can have a rock from side to side if you like. Placing the hands lightly on the knees. As you inhale, the knees are moving away from the body, the arms straighten. And as you exhale, the knees and the thighs draw back towards the body, the elbows bend. So let the legs do the work. The hands are resting lightly on the kneecaps. They're just going along for the ride. They're not pushing and pulling. Massaging the lower back into the floor on the exhale. This is Apanasana. So releasing posture, releasing air in the body, And again, releasing tension. A couple more times. And then letting the feet fall to the floor. I want you to have a think about your surroundings, the room that you're in, and I'd like you to raise the legs up in some way. So either taking yourself and your mat over to a wall or a chair or a bed to put the legs and maybe the calves up onto something so you've got the legs lifted. If you haven't got anything like that, you can come with me into a half shoulder stand, so a gentle version of a shoulder stand. Coming to sitting, you might want to watch before you do this, rolling back, pressing with your forearms to lift your hips and catching the hips, and then letting a lot of the back settle back down onto the floor. And the legs are at an angle. So rather than being up towards the sky, the feet are pointing behind you. And you can wriggle elbows and hands, get yourself comfortable in this position. Otherwise, you might be taking legs up the wall, any form of Viparita Karani, it's called, where we've got the legs lifted. And we're looking for this feeling of energy flowing down. Have the hands wherever they feel comfortable, on your hips, on your belly, on the floor. Let the eyes gently close, the jaw soften, and again, allow yourself to let go. So Diwali, the celebration of light this week, tells a story of welcoming good home. So welcoming goodness into our lives, and that struggle over evil, light over darkness. And we're talking about our inner light. Our inner goodness is always there inside us. Sometimes it might feel that's not quite the case, but we have always got this inner light shining within us. And it's important to recognize that and celebrate that. So it's a lovely celebration of light, also thinking of the inner light within us. So your relaxation today is going to be lighting up points around the body, and you're welcome to stay in whichever version of Viparita Karani you've chosen, maybe not shoulder stand, so gently rolling yourself out of that using your forearms as brakes. You might want to keep the legs raised, or you might want to come into Shavasana or corpse pose, or constructive rest pose with the knees bent, resting together, putting on extra layers if you want to reach out for them, maybe some warm fluffy socks. And finding a position that you can settle into for the next few minutes. Letting the eyes close. Letting the shoulders relax away from the ears. Maybe the palms face up to the sky in this opening position, receiving position. And let the skin on the face be soft and the jaw relax. And take some deep, mindful breaths, like we did at the beginning, letting the exhales be longer than the inhales. Settling yourself into a state of rest and relaxation. And in the body rotation that I'm going to do today, I'm going to invite you to imagine that we're lighting up little tea lights, or diyas they use in India, which are tiny little earthenware lamps with ghee and a wick in them. And we're lighting up these little lights around the body. You don't have to worry about them balancing or being in the right place. These little lights are just going to stay there exactly where we want them to be. So I want you to, first of all, take your awareness down into your feet and imagine you're placing 2 lights on your ankles or the tops of your feet, wherever you want these little lights to light up. And wherever we place these lights, they bring warmth and nourishment into the body. So feeling your feet relax. And this warmth and light is going to travel up through the body. As we come now up the legs to the knees, I want you to imagine 2 little lamps on your knees. So the lower legs feel warm and relaxed and nourished. We move up through the thighs to your hips. We place 2 lights on your hips. Imagining this involves the sexual organs, all of the pelvis, soothing and nourishing. And then placing 1 lamp under your belly button on your lower abdomen, soothing all around the stomach, the lower back, and then moving up the center of the rib cage, just up to the solar plexus. So the point at the kind of the bottom of the area of the ribs, your energy center above the belly button, placing a light there, soothing all around the chest and the back, and then moving to the heart space, seeing a light lit there, lighting up the heart, soothing and nourishing this important area of the body. Letting your awareness travel up further now, up to your collarbones, where there's a little dimple in the front of your throat, the pit of your throat. Imagine a light there, soothing across the chest, all around the back of the shoulders, the shoulder blades. And then taking your awareness down your arms, right down into your fingertips, and imagining a light in your hands. So the palm of your hands, if the palms are facing up, the back of your hands or the wrists, wherever you visualize these 2 little lights, warming your hands, fingers gently curled, not held in any way, traveling up your arms, warming and soothing till you get to your elbows. Imagine lighting 2 lamps in the eye of your elbows, the crease of the elbows, warming and soothing as we travel up the upper arms to the shoulders. Let 2 little lights be lit on your shoulders, warming and soothing and relaxing. Coming over the shoulders to the neck, traveling up through the throat, up through the back of the neck, into the head. And the last light I want you to place between the eyebrows, the point we call the 3rd eye. And let this light burn bright here, softening, releasing any tension in the head, around the temples, the forehead, the crown of the head, the whole of the head feeling warm, soft, the skull releasing back, eyes resting back in their sockets, so that the whole body now is held in a gentle awareness of relaxation and glowing light, warming and soothing. Take the next few breaths in and out of the body, picturing yourself glowing with light, representing your inner light. And then slowly, slowly, with the next few breaths, allow the light, the visualization of the lights to fade away. Know that your inner light still burns brightly, but the visualization of these little lamps, these little tea lights, however it came to you, fades away. And if you're still in an inverted position, maybe now it's time to bend the knees and hug them into the chest. If you're laying down, wiggling fingers and toes, you're welcome to also bring the knees over the chest and have a little rock from side to side if that feels soothing to you. And everybody making their way to lying on their side, resting there. And as you bring your hands onto the floor and slowly press yourself up, imagine that you're lifting up once again into the light, coming to a comfortable seated position. And I've lit a couple of lights for you. Buddha's got a light there, and we've got a light here on the mat. We'll finish the practice by bringing your hands in front of the heart space. And as we take an inhale, reach out and up like a candle flame burning brightly. Palms come together at the top, and then exhale down, bringing that light back to your heart. Inhale here and take a bow. A bow to yourself, a bow to the importance of making time to release and relax and let go. Let that inner light burn brightly. Namaste.